about this love.
How do you normally introduce? Welcome back to part 3 of the About This Love podcast. We are breaking down intentional dating that leads to marriage. So we did part 1 where we were talking about, what were we talking about in part 1, Dale?
Just talking about summarizing what we want to do and just kind of discussing the general topic, what we were going to talk about as far as intentionality, intentional dating that leads to marriage. And, just each part after that was, last week was intentionality. This week is just setting boundaries, or just having boundaries. What does that look like? And kind of really going to use some biblical examples of that as well, because I feel like that is just needed. I was thinking about the Dana used to always say, one time he spoke about convictions, and he said that convictions is something that the Lord may have, the Holy Spirit may have put on you not to do, but it's not something that, no, it doesn't mean you can have to do it. So, and I think that oftentimes, our boundaries have to become convictions in order for us to not allow ourselves to like allow someone else's lack of boundaries, or lack of not wanting to do something affect us. It's like kind of like what I said when you and I met. I wouldn't come inside your home, and I wouldn't allow you to come inside my home. That was just a boundary that I had set, and the purpose for that boundary was that I wasn't out here in these, well, not even you, but for women in general. It wasn't just for you. I don't want to say like that he was special or not special. It wasn't
I'm
just you.
special, but
I mean, what I'm saying was that was a boundary that I set up so that I'm not going inside of women's homes, and then I come inside of my home, and
so you wouldn't fall into temptation.
temptation of
Okay.
fornication. Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna get there. I was laying on the plane.
Nah, I was just trying to understand what you were saying. Did you ask me a question?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Honestly, I didn't have those type of boundaries. I didn't think to have those type of boundaries until you said that. And then I think once you said that, I started to think, well, I did have some boundaries. I knew that I did not want to do things how I've been doing it before. And I wanted to be honest, and I wanted to seek the Lord with like every turn of decision. And not that that was a boundary per se. It was more so of, how I wanted to go about us like getting to know each other. I think you shared with, the viewers or the listeners before how we like pursued a friendship before. I don't think that was on purpose. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't think you intentionally on that part was like, oh, I want to be your friend first so that I can see if we're gonna get married. I think we just became friends.
It was organic.
Yeah. Thank you. It was because stop
you
it.
can't get my number.
You got my number too. We got each other's number at the same time.
Nah, but you called me though. You
No.
text me some side.
No, don't try to put that on me. No.
Game. She said she got my number, text me to the side.
First of all, I'm a woman. I ain't boy.
I said, I'm talking about me.
Oh, you had
your boy.
Your boy. We were nothing at the time, so you're not even my boy. Okay, so no, well, what happened was, like, in a group setting where we met, the host of the group had put everyone into the group chat, and then we were all texting for a few weeks. Now, don't do that, because you know it was true. Now, stop. Exactly. We were all texting for a few weeks, and then, but you did say that first time we met, everyone was sharing their heart, and you came up to me directly and said, hold on, no, I'm trying to be serious, because I'm picturing you right now. You were like, if you want to like go through things on like that's in the Bible and share what's in your heart, I'm available.
Those are my exact words. I'm available.
Yes, you were like, I'm available if you ever want to talk about those things. And I was like, okay. But I was just like, he's trying to get my number. And so I didn't share my number. And so, but then I think what ended up happening was later, I felt like we all sat down that same day, because that was a long meeting.
Yeah.
It was a long night, but okay. So either way, I think that what ended up happening, I think that that's when I heard the Lord just kind of like in the small, still voice was like, yeah, this is, that's going to be your husband. And so I just was like, okay, chill, because, I thought it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, Did I hear what I heard? And I didn't want to move any differently. I just wanted things to happen. And like you said, it organically happened. A lot of things organically happen. But so I didn't have any boundaries. And now that I think about it, I wish I had a couple boundaries. Just as far as I just knew what I totally could not tolerate or put up with. And
those are boundaries then.
I know, but I don't think I didn't tell you.
They may not have, I'm not talking about even dealing with me.
Yeah.
Even just in general, like you may have had boundaries about things that was what you were or wasn't going to do or tolerate. That was
Yeah.
still a boundary. Like,
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
I mean, obviously, you were saying how you didn't want to date somebody who wasn't a believer, right?
Yeah, I didn't wanna date a non-believer.
That was a boundary, you know.
I didn't want to, but I mean, I wasn't going around saying, "Oh, who you? Not a non-believer. Nah, just go."
But
Yeah,
I wanted to get into it, a boundary, like the purpose of boundaries.
yeah,
One of the things that boundaries do is boundaries they keep us, and let's talk about it from the standpoint of we have a yard, and we have, you know, we live in the city of Baltimore. We have a yard. We have fences in our yard. A fence is is a boundary. One of the things that is on a natural level that fences do is fences help you to be able to identify where your property starts and where your property ends. I control anything that comes inside my yard, and that's a boundary. But I think that also too, the fence helps me. The fence helps us prevent from having stray dogs come inside of our yard or whatever. Because sometimes we see dogs in the alley just walking without a leash, but us having a fence up, which is a boundary, prevents them from being able to come into our yard and do whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? But I think that boundaries are put into place to help protect you, or to help you protect yourself from others as well. Like with the whole not going inside, you know, people's home, young women's homes, and not allowing them to come inside my home. That was only to protect to protect my, I was say my youthfulness, or should I say, or myself from marriage. It was also to protect them from me as well. You know, because
yeah,
I mean, we're all human beings. You know, I would be lying to myself if I said that there was some young lady that I went on dates with that if I had the opportunity that I wouldn't sleep with. You know, I'd be lying. I
yeah,
think that boundary prevented that from happening. So I think that the boundary was good. I think about the scriptures when, you know, those who are familiar with the story of David and King Saul, many opportunities. David had the opportunity to you know, to kill King Saul, but he wouldn't. He didn't. You know, he understood that was God's anointed, and so that prevented him from doing that. The boundary of him knowing that was who God had anointed as king before me kept him from laying a hair or
yeah,
threatening the life of King Saul. And I think that just having those things into place, or understanding why I have a boundary, like, and I think that for I tell people all the time. I was having a conversation with, even I've had this conversation with both men and women. We talked about before on a previous podcast about being flown out or flying out. I'll go a step that's just even more simpler. I tell young ladies now that if you go on a date with somebody, be prepared to pay. I say that because what if the guy's mentality is, well, if I'm paying, then I'm getting some of that boom boom tonight. You know what, dude? I'll pay my half. And I think that moving in a certain way, or having certain boundaries. Again, boundaries don't only protect you; they also protect the other person from you as well. I think we was having a conversation with the guys, and I was like, if you know, if you're flying somebody, if you're flying a young lady in town or out of town, whatever it may be, always ask people like, what's the intentions?
yeah,
You know, and I think that most men know, or women like to act as if, well, just because you flew me in, I don't owe you anything. And while I do believe that that's true, I'm not gonna put myself in a predicament to allow somebody to do something for me that I may not be able to do for myself. And I just think, again, having those boundaries, like having the boundaries that, hey, I'm a woman. If I'm going to date with a man, I'm going to be, if he pays, wonderful, that's fine. But I'm going to be prepared to pay myself. I'm not going to allow anybody to fly me in anywhere, because if they do, they'll be expecting something from me, or they could possibly expect something from me. That's just having a boundary. You know, having a boundary, again, it protects them from you, and it protects you from them. You know, it protects you from them in the sense that I don't owe you any kind of sexual favors.
yeah,
It protects them in the sense that you didn't come out of your pocket and pay for me for anything.
yeah,
That's just how I look at it, you know. And I know people would look at this and disagree, but I think that when you operate in a certain way, you know, you really, it's wisdom. You know, wisdom would have you operate in a way that would prevent you from being put in situations where you wouldn't be in. Like, I was watching a video the other day. Really, it was sad. A woman was supposed to be out of town on a work trip. She was engaged, but in the video, she was with some other man, and he kept trying to get into altercations with people, and so he got into an altercation with somebody, and unfortunately, he ended up getting into an altercation with somebody, and the person shot in his direction. She got, you know, killed. Of course, unfortunately, she got killed. But what was more sad is, they had to explain to her fiance how she got killed. And it's like,
oh, but she was
yeah,
out with someone
yeah, yeah,
else.
she was, but I think My
Okay.
point is, she was probably out with somebody that she probably didn't handle business being with. He was doing something stupid. So I think in that situation, about whatever boundary that she probably should have put in place would have prevented her life from. We don't look at things from a big perspective because I tell people, I actually I tell women like, if you being flown out somewhere, what's to prevent a man from taking whatever he wants from you?
Well, some people think, okay, well, I got pepper spray, I know self-defense and things like that, but, hear me out.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, hear me out. I believe that, I think that's a person's dealer's choice, if that makes sense. I honestly believe that if a man wants to pay, and it's like, oh, see, chivalry is not dead. And so, well, he held the door open. He wanted to pay for the meal. I didn't want to offend. If it comes to something like that, then I get that. But I think it should be made clear in the beginning. I had that example, and actually, you and I were friends at the time when a man approached me and was like, "Oh yeah, I want to take you out," but and he actually came out. That was the Lord, because people don't come out and say it. He came out and said, while we were, I guess, getting to know each other, he came out and said, "Yeah, so if I take you out on a date, at the end of the night, I want to be able to hold your hand or give you a kiss or something because," and I was like, "Whoa." Like, no, we're not doing any. Back then it was, we're not doing no Netflix and chill. I have a roommate. I didn't have a roommate. My son was my roommate, but I technically had a roommate. I mean, he don't pay bills, but I had a roommate. And I said, and we don't allow people to come over. And I don't think I would want to be interested in going out with you if you feel like you have access to touch me just because we went out. Like, I don't even know you. And that was our very first conversation. I don't think that ever really happens, but I had just let him talk. Like, I just was like, no, I'm just gonna let him talk because people can say about anything and it'll sound good. But I don't know. I was just like, man, whatever. Like, he could just talk and we could just go from there. And so, after that conversation, I was like, yeah,
Dodge the bullet.
I mean, not only dodged a bullet, but also, I just, you get to a point where you don't want to waste your time with things, or with people, with different situations. It's almost like you can see the writing on the wall a lot of times, and then we'll do that and still be like, yeah, I seen it, but I'ma still do it anyways, or go anyways, or get flown out anyways.
Yeah, I just think that not I think that the current culture is shifting, and the way that people usually do things it's shifting. Like, and we have to
Yeah.
be able to transition with the times. Like me, of course. Like, I took you out. I mean, I paid. Like, I ain't care,
Did
but
you pay?
yeah, I paid.
I don't remember.
I didn't care, but I think that as a woman, I'm not saying don't let the man pay. What I am saying is that, like, be prepared to pay for whatever you order. That's what I'm saying.
I'd honestly, before then, I would ask the intentions. If y'all set up a date, it's almost like, if you want to be intentional, let's be intentional from the beginning. Hey, what are your thoughts on, I think there needs to be more conversation before the date that needs to be had, I think more conversation, because I mean, how many conversations did we had? We talked a lot before we actually one-on-one kind of went on what you would consider a date. We spoke a lot, so I kind of could know who I was spending my time with. It wasn't like a blind, essentially a blind date,
No, you
and so that's why I was like, I don't even remember who paid for that. You paid. I don't even think that was a.
I believe I paid, I'm not sure.
Oh, I mean, maybe you did. Maybe it doesn't. Well, it didn't matter. But I agree with you. I was thinking earlier, like, gone are the days where, like, I watch a lot of romance films. I watch K-dramas. I don't read a lot of romance novels, but, like, I used to like those things, and so you would think, it's written in a way that it's like, really, yeah, maybe our grandparents kind of lived in that era where, oh, well, he took me out for ice cream. Like, I mean, I have she's a little old lady I call. She's like 82. And, like, she told me the story of her and her husband getting married. It was just, he kept asking her, and she kept putting it off. And then one day, I guess a friend of hers was getting married. And so she was like, well, I was just in the mood or in the spirit. And, like, I was just so happy for her that me and so-and-so just ran off and got married and went to Jersey, and it's something you would see in a movie, but nowadays it's not. So I agree with you. We're not in those times where it's like, yeah, I came back married, and and we've been together like 50 years, like in bliss, it's not like that.
Yeah, and you can't be oblivious. Like, I mean, I feel like, well, you can choose to be oblivious, but I feel like in doing so, you end up putting yourself in an unfortunate, position. Like, again, I've heard stories of women going out with dudes and dudes unaliving them. It's like you can't be that night. You don't have the luxury of moving in a way where you are intentionally believing or being naive. Oh, he just want to get to know me, or he just want to like. So
No, but
he having you come to his house at 11 o'clock at night for dinner, and he want no sense out of you? Really?
well,
It's
I
like,
mean, same with
like,
women.
come on. I mean, yeah, I mean,
Same with
well,
women.
I was watching a YouTube show. The guy said he was a chef, and he was like, he do like private cooking for people,
Yeah.
and the woman was like, yeah. So you give me dessert before you leave? He was like, I just give you cheesecake. He's like, nah. And he said she had a whole rope on. I was like, oh my goodness. But
Oh,
it's like,
but
yeah, I
he's
mean,
working.
yeah, he's working, but it's like, again,
Wow.
people just they just go left real fast, So
Yeah.
you have to have boundaries. You have to have boundaries that you have set up. And I don't know what that looks like for you.
Well,
I
you
don't know
know
what that looks
what?
like for you.
I mean, I think a good boundary is, like you said in the last episode, was like having somebody kind of vet the person as well, not just online,
It's
but
not really a boundary though.
no, it is. I think that's a boundary. Meaning, like, bring them around your friends. Maybe do a group date at first. Do a couple of group dates, group things. Hey, me and my
What if you
friends
have
are.
that? What if you don't have friends?
If you don't have friends, maybe work on getting some friends first that you trust. And I mean, honestly, because I've said it before, I had one good friend, not one good friend, but this one friend in particular, she kind of vetted, never met the guy, but vetted kind of through what I was saying. She was reading it and was like, no. Remember, I feel like during our generation growing up, like, and maybe even my mother's generation, I think they had the boy needed to come to the house kind of thing, like, and I know we're older, and we're talking to other millennials who are in their early to mid 30s, if not late 30s, because I think millennials go up to like almost 40,
I mean,
42.
yeah, I mean,
But no, but what
yeah,
I'm saying,
'cause I did agree in high school, and I would have, yeah, I had to meet her father, so yeah.
yeah, but so yeah, I mean, and so no, it's like, oh, well, I don't want to bring everybody I'm dating, around. And I had that mindset too, but I also got into a lot of ish with that mindset. Like as a young person who wasn't intentionally walking with the Lord, I got into some ish. And when I say, I wish I would have like been somebody come check this dude out. Somebody come check this person out, I think we need to get back there. So maybe if your father's around, if you have a trusted male, trusted man in your life who like knows your heart and you're bringing somebody around, because I think that also slows you down and have you to think, if I'm afraid to bring this person home, like what's wrong? Like what's up
Yeah.
with that person that's not, and I don't think you need to actually sit and figure that out what's like on your own. It's almost like, let me kind of run to my people. You know how celebrities be like, okay, I have my people call you. Let me call my people
Yeah.
and see,
I mean,
and see what
you're
they
right.
think. Like even by just hearing, because there's a lot of times there's people across the country we talk to, and we never see the people that they are dating, and it's almost like, yeah, that don't even sound right. Or like you hear it and you don't say anything, and then months later, oh, can you believe this and that happened? Yeah, I actually can't believe, because when you said X, Y, and Z, that didn't sound right.
People don't have people in their lives to actually vet people, and sometimes, I mean, I think we live in a culture where people want to believe a lie. I mean, there's a story in the Old Testament. I believe it's somewhere in Kings where it's like there was a lying prophet that people wanted to believe a lie, so God let them believe a lie. I think that the Lord allowed a lying spirit to go to them, and when you don't have a capacity in your heart for the truth, God will let a lying spirit come to you. And I feel like
Yeah.
oftentimes you can tell somebody that girl ain't good for you, or that dude, he ain't no good for you, but they don't want to believe it. They want to believe a lie. I mean, how many times we're going through that right now, not personally with our own life, but someone that we know. We're like, hey, we told you A, B, C, and D, but you just didn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes, like when you're young, again, when you're young, not having boundaries, it costs you, but it doesn't cost you a lot. When you're older and you're more established and you don't have boundaries, certain relationships and certain things just they cost you. They cost you a lot, like emotionally, financially. They cost you a lot. Like we've known people that have just been with people and it was like, yo,
Mhm.
it's cost them a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And
Money,
it's
time.
unfortunate. Now they're going through therapy. It's like, yeah, all of this because you didn't want to vet somebody, or you didn't want to have somebody vet the person that you were dealing with. And usually, for me, it's always a red flag if I know somebody that's dealing with somebody, but they don't want to bring them around. Yeah, it's a red flag for me, you know.
And you know what too? I think also when the person that you are trying to like see about is becoming a red flag, I think that like depending on how you handle it, you become that red flag as well. You know what I'm saying? Like the behaviors that they're
Explain that.
exhibiting. Okay. So for example, if the person is like ghosting you, if they're not showing up, they're not keeping their word or commitment, but you so want to be with them, you so want them to know that you are interested, but then they keep showing you like, I cannot show up for you. I cannot, I mean, they might even say it out their own mouths. I cannot show up for you. I can't be that. I mean, you could do like one of two things. You could either accept that and continue on trying to pursue them, or you can move on and, be with somebody who's like, I don't know, available, who is back to the buzzword of like this whole conversation is intentional with you. Because, and I say that you become the red flag because if you choose to continue to pursue them, what will happen is you start flaking on your friends because they flaked on you, but then you start to become that toxic person that you take on those traits that you yourself do not like that they do, and like you inadvertently like do it, and not that you want to, and not that it wasn't well meaning and you don't have the best intentions like for your time, but you really have to, I think that's a main boundary, like with protecting your time, or like
Yeah.
people like to say is protect your energy. It's like, yeah, you do have to.
Or I think from the last situation that we kind of were dealing with, Sherelle, my wife was saying how, not allowing people to have access to her who's going to mistreat her. Like, hey, you don't know how to treat me, so you don't get to have access to me. And it's like, hey, I was like, wow. I was thinking about it. I was like, wow, that's actually pretty profound. It's like, hey, I've given you enough time to be around me. I've seen that the times that you have been around me, that you've mistreated me or mishandled my time or mishandled something that I've said, or kind of brush off what I've said, or so you don't get to have access to me. That's the boundary that I've set in my life. People who don't people who don't value me or value what I bring don't have access to me. And it's like, hey, that's the boundary that I've established in my life, and that's fine. Because it prevents you. It again, it protects you from wasting other people's time as well.
Well, also too, it protects you from opening up any wounds, like creating wounds or open up any unnecessary wounds too. Not that you need to do that in every situation because the Lord may not have you to be able to do that. There might be some people like it might be a family member, somebody who's in your own home, a coworker, but I think by doing that, you really have to weigh out the situation of like, when we're talking about in the instance of dating. So you don't get to hurt me in this way, especially when like I'm not committed to you. There's no papers here. It's like, you know,
And that's I never thought about it from that perspective. Like,
yeah,
hey,
like
I ain't really with you, so
right. Like,
um,
I mean, I think when we were going through counseling, I remember we were told, like, up until the day we say I do, we are not married. You are not my husband. I am not your wife. And I was like, oh my gosh.
that's true.
Oh, that is now because we planned this wedding, because we said we were going to be intentional, because we told people about it, we sent out invitations. It's almost like now I gotta go through it.
Okay, now
Well,
I was on a TikTok live
oh,
and
good.
they were saying that they were asking like if if a man's dating a woman, should he be paying her bills and paying to get her hair done, her nails done? And I was like, nah. I was like, hey, it's your wife. And what we've done is in today's culture, we've taken so much from the family unit and and the wife and husband unit, and we try to put on everything. It's like, yo, it's like, yeah, you got to pay for my kids. Pay for your kids? Like, I ain't a father, yo. Like,
Like, try to do that. And
and you ain't my wife, and that's fine. That is okay. But people have a problem. Nah, he gonna pay my bills and take care. Like the other video where the dude brought his kid something, his son something. What?
yeah,
You ain't been there for my other kids? He was like, nah. And then
those come out a lot. I get that. And
what I'm saying is,
yeah,
if somebody wants to, if they want to,
that's what I was
if
about
they
to
want to
say.
do something for you, then that's fine.
Let them do that out the
But
kindness of their
if they
heart.
don't,
Yeah.
they're not entitled to. You don't belong to them. They don't
Well,
belong to you. So
yeah.
so you're not. They don't have to pay for you in any type of form of fashion or reason. That's a fact.
Yeah. Now, it's nice if they do, and if those are, and hear me out, if those are things that you desire, like as a man or a woman, if those are things that you desire, then if it's righteous and if it's just and if it's the Lord, as far as like the Lord put that on your heart, because there are things called love languages.
Yeah, of course.
So like acts of services or gifts or things like that is our love language, and by default, we kind of like share our love language with people we are interacting. Not going to appreciate it, but you know what? I'm going to do this anyways. And truly in our heart, because I have a friend whose love language is acts of service and time spent, and you want something in return. And when I say fathering them, it's like you are being, like, basically you're being their husband, and you're expecting something in return. And so of course he's defending it. No, 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 no. I don't want anything in return. And I'm like, yes, you do. Let's be honest. But because you have not married this person, there's no true commitment. Like, you even got one foot out the door half the time with like these young ladies, to be quite honest, if you're honest with yourself. But like, you do want to see that after the days and months and sometimes years that we spent together, I have a relationship that I feel solid or secure
Yeah.
in. And I've given you my time spent. I've given you gifts. I've, fixed your car, things like that. And it kind of comes out in an ugly way at the end when it all crumbles. So it's almost like if you are that one who's like that giver, then it's like, well, I mean, give if you want to give, but also give with the understanding that it's not going to be returned. Like, you're not going to get your return on investment here. If
Yeah.
if you guys aren't intentionally dating towards marriage, if there isn't a conversation, if you're not checking in, about like, hey, is that okay? Because I have an example. Remember, we engaged by this time? We were not engaged by this time, but you wrote me a song for my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
You wrote me 2 songs.
Yeah.
I liked the first one more because I was just so surprised that you liked me enough to write me a song. And I still never got it as your ringtone, but I still do want it as a ringtone though. But
I remember that. Wow.
yeah, it was the song. And that's like one of your gifts, like that you gave to me. And no, you didn't spend money. I don't think, did you spend any money on making that song? Like, yeah, you didn't spend any money making that song. But then the second song, I don't think I had such a big reaction, but I feel like maybe it came out too soon. First, I don't know. So I'm just like, and hear me out, I think I was just overwhelmed by like that type of attention and affection towards me. Like, no one's ever written me a song. And then like everyone else in our
I knew he
group,
was the one when he wrote that song for me.
no, I knew before then, but but everyone else in our like group was kind of, in our community was like, I need a song. They were married, they've been married longer. They was like, I need a song, like looking at their husband. And so it just kind of overwhelmed me in a way. So then when the
Yeah.
other song came out, I was like, oh, like, okay, thanks. And then you actually called me one day. You were like, hey, so you don't like when I write music for you, do you? And I was just like, oh no, it's not that. And I don't even know what I said to you, but I was just like, oh, I hurt his feelings.
Nah.
And I didn't know. I think I did. I didn't get no more songs after that, but I think I did hurt your
How you
feelings.
doing?
And so, I mean, but I believe that by you checking in, you didn't. It was almost like, okay, she's not receiving in the way that.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things that I don't do, I think it's funny because oftentimes, like I've had it done for me in the past where I may forget to do something or not do something, and somebody jumps the gun and be like, oh, well, you didn't do that, and you was like, it wasn't that serious. I just forgot. I'm sorry. So one of the things that I don't take things like too personal, and I always give people the benefit of the doubt. I've been the one on the other end of the spectrum. Somebody was like, well, you were supposed to call me, and you don't love me no more. You're like, yo, chill. Yeah, I got caught up at work. Like, it's not that serious. Like, time
Oh
out.
wow,
Because I never take things like too personal. I'm like, oh man, they probably forgot. Or they probably got busy at work or whatever.
that's how you
Yeah.
felt when I said that about your song.
No, I don't think I don't think I felt any way about it. To be honest with you,
I felt like you was. I feel like
no,
you were.
I wasn't. I
Oh,
honestly,
okay.
because if I did it, I would have remembered it. I'm like,
Oh, how you felt
yeah,
about it?
I'm just like, okay, sure, like, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but no. So
just pivot, like, oh, cool, just pivot.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Well, I mean, I really I appreciate it. Like, I took from that, like, you notice, you notice the difference, and you appreciate. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you wanted to discuss it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
That you
yeah.
wanted to, and I think people should do that. Like, you know what? When you did that, and for someone who doesn't want to explain, because I think that's when things start to like foil. when you start to either explain yourself, and not over explain, but just like ask a question, kind of inquire, like, hey, what was on your heart? Like when you start to dive deeper, that starts to eliminate people anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I think that with people that who are intentional with dating and wanted to lead the marriage, I think that one of your boundaries should be that you should. I think a married couple told us over talk, like over explain, over
Yeah.
communicate,
Yeah.
and I feel like you should really communicate a lot of things. And when people say things, like one of the things that I think they told us when we were in marriage counseling, that nothing off the table. Like
Yeah.
if and I feel like oftentimes people feel like, well, no, what you want to know about my past for, because if I'm going to be in your future, I want to know may come back to one day hunt you or hunt us. So
Hunt you.
so I feel like I'm just so sarcastic.
Or yeah, well, you know
So
what? Honestly,
that may
what
come
may
back up.
come, yeah, may it will come up.
Yeah.
Or, but you know what? So I got this advice that just hit me like within the last maybe 3 years of our marriage. I had gotten this during our, what's it called? During my engagement party. A friend of ours said to me, go into your marriage with your eyes open, knowing everything you need to know about the person, and then so that when you get married, you close your eyes. And I was just kind of, it sounds good. When you hear it, it sounds wise. It sounds good. And you almost are like, you're like, okay, that sounds good. It really
He
registered
didn't say
to me.
that.
He did not say that to me.
Oh, he didn't?
No. He probably said it, but he didn't say that to me.
Oh, that didn't say that. Okay.
No. So, and Dana, for all of y'all, because Dale keeps mentioning this Dana that everybody knows about, we've had Dana Thompson. I mentioned his book in the last episode. What is it? Awaken to My Wife.
Yeah.
So definitely go check it out. I believe it's on Amazon, I believe, but it's a really good book if you're interested in looking that up. But we've had him and his wife, Rose Thompson, on Dana Thompson on a previous podcast episode.
Years ago, because he's since then has gone to be with the Lord.
Yeah.
So, but he was very
Pivotal.
monumental and
Yeah.
pivotal in our life and to our marriage.
Yeah, both of them. And so Dana did not say that to me. Someone else who, walked in relationship with Dana and his wife said that to me
Okay.
yeah. And I didn't know Dana said that, but this person had said it
Well,
to
maybe he
me.
didn't say that. I won't say.
No. I think he did say that to them. But he did,
Okay.
but he wasn't at my engagement party. Just that's what I'm saying.
Okay, got
you. Yeah. But no, so I just got that. And I got it because it's like, well, not that you close your eyes like you're oblivious to things that your spouse does, but you close some really ugly parts of you. And, if we don't have that like 70 times 7, like, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of mentality, that heart of forgiveness, like you gonna drive yourself crazy, And I mean, that's like once you get to the other side of marriage, obviously. But I mean, even before then, you need to start walking in like forgiveness of things once not, I mean, yeah, you can forgive a person for sure if they kind of wronged you. Oh, that leads me to the example about the young lady who told me to like check in on homeboy. One thing she said, talk about forgiveness. That's how she married, really married her husband, if that makes sense. Was just the date was horrible. And so she wanted to know more. She over communicated. She wanted to know more, like, why'd you do that? And that wasn't cool. And this was actually a horrible date. And it wasn't going well. And so because she over communicated that, like, not that in a rude way, she didn't like it, but she wanted, like, she needed some answers. And once he started to explain, she had a better understanding of his heart, who he was.
Instead of taking somebody doesn't like making it and taking it personal.
And writing the story.
It has nothing to do with you, or it's not. It may not have turned out the way they wanted to either, but they just at that point trying to wing it. But it's like you've jumped to conclusions.
You want Mr. and Mrs. Perfect from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's just not life. That's just not reality. So thank you all for joining in on this episode. We do pray that it benefits your life. Again, just creating those boundaries in your life to protect you and protect those who are going to interact with you. This is just another episode in the series, Intentional Dating Leading to Marriage. Thank you guys for joining again. If you want to watch the video, you can find it on YouTube. If you don't care about the video, you can listen to our podcast anywhere where podcasts can be ingested. Please follow us on TikTok and follow our Facebook, YouTube channel. And until next time, when you hear from us from Baltimore, where you can be more. Peace.